This is the Art of Darkness podcast with Kevin Kautzman.
And Abby Lucas.
We're a couple of very online writers interested in the dark side of creativity.
This show is about art and the people who make it, what it costs them, and what it takes to bring something unique and impactful into the world.
On each episode, we examine the life and work of an artist you might think you know.
Don't worry, they're all safely dead.
We aren't. Find us online at artofdarkpod.com, and please support the show through Patreon or Substack. You get extra stuff. Thank you. We're back in the dark room with another episode of Art of Darkness, the podcast about the dark side of creativity. I'm Kevin Kautzman. We're going to be talking about a very intense figure, somebody who Abby covered exhaustively. She went, I think, for 6 total hours. Roald Dahl, and I have our friend of the show, longtime listener, first-time caller, Jan Willem. Did I say it? How'd I do? I'm gonna let you.
That's quite all right. Comes very close. So
okay, and is it all right if I just call you Jan for?
Yeah, sure. No
okay,
problem.
Jan. Now Jan has been a member of the book club that we do for patrons for a very, very long time. And when Abby and I did the book club, we had like mixed links, and he really wanted to talk about Roald Dahl. Apparently, Roald Dahl was one of his favorite children's, favorite authors all through his childhood and everything. So I thought, why don't we do a dark room, make some content out of it? And I was just fascinated by this figure. I couldn't believe the life that he led. And then when you zoom out and think about the footprint that he's had on the culture, it's incredible. In any case, Jan Willem, introduce yourself to people. Welcome to the dark room.
Yeah, very, very glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Well, my name is Jan Willem van Kaathoven. I know that's quite a mouthful. But I'm from the Netherlands. I live in Leiden, which is close to The Hague. And my main interests are philosophy and language, especially the Chinese language. I hope to become a literary translator someday. But just nowadays, I mainly make a living with using my native language. I'm a teacher. I teach Dutch to immigrants.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So
maybe you could help me. Maybe you could help me with a little bit of Dutch. How do you say?
Yeah.
How would you say?
You know a little bit of German, right?
Yeah, ein bisschen, and yeah, only a little bit. How would you say "Welcome to the dark room" in Dutch?
Welkom in de donkere kamer.
Nice. I like it. It sounds to the American ear, it sounds like this fantastical language, but I can sort of see where it relates to German, of course.
Yeah, it's like the language is like if languages were in a family, there would be cousins probably.
All right,
So
very good. Yeah.
Like multiply.
Do you know the
understandable to a certain degree, and
right,
it's very
right.
easy for German speakers to pick up Dutch.
Sure.
But
yeah, it's like when somebody from Wisconsin comes over to Minnesota, we can kind of understand each other. There's a vague understanding. So let's get into Roald Dahl a little bit. You prompted this. So where did your interest in this author begin? Obviously, for people who maybe didn't listen to the core episode, people listening must know who Roald Dahl is, right? Author of Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. For book club, we read this incredible, surprisingly solid set of short stories called Someone Like You. I might read from a little bit of this here at some point. But just is that what James and the Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox? I mean, there's so much stuff that when you think you realize, like, wait a minute, this guy is just everywhere. So where did you first encounter him?
Um, I don't know which book of his I read first. I think Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Um, Also read The Witches and Matilda. The thing that stood out to me in Roald Dahl's stories was uh, before even the language, it were the illustrations by Quentin Blake, Sir Quentin Blake, who illustrated almost all of Roald Dahl's work.
Mm.
And that guy he's 92 by the way,
Oh, he's
still
still around.
working. So
This is an open
big
invitation onto the show.
big respect for big respect to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quentin Blake's style, it's it's very wild and edgy and grotesque, but still colorful and childlike, and that was something that really attracted me. I'm I'm from this. I grew up in the same area where Hieronymus Bosch lived and worked. So 500 years earlier, of course, but like that art style, it was just always around, and it's always something that I liked, and I found a bit of that that yeah that freaky
Yeah.
edge also in the illustrations of Quentin Blake, and even more so in Roald Dahl's imagination.
Right. And it dawns on me now that you mentioned this, that Roald Dahl seems to, and by the way, on the After Dark, we're going to talk about, for patrons, we're going to talk about the redacting of his work. We're going to get into that stuff uh, behind the paywall after the main part of this, because I think that stuff is fascinating. The idea that they're like taking, electronic versions of his books and just like swapping in new language. We're going to talk about that on the After Dark, patreon.com/Art of Dark Pod. It occurs to me that Roald Dahl sits in this place almost like the grim fairy tales, where we have the sort of sanitized Disney reality, which
Hmm.
friend of the pod Bukowski talked about. We got to kick the mouse out of our heads, right? Um, but Roald Dahl kind of lives in that place, that childhood grotesquerie that kids like to talk about boogers and farts and witches with
Hmm.
grumpy ugly nose, yeah. So that attracted you. So that you're telling us something about yourself there.
Yeah, well, it it attracted me in particular, but I to 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 a big degree, but I don't think any child could resist that. They
Yeah, it's kind of naughty.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they all like something that is kind of just um, beyond the border what they're allowed to. Um,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And you find it in the
because they're
school.
still
Yeah.
figuring it out, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
They want to find out the consequences of the actions. They want to find out their own personality, who they really are, their likes and dislikes. So
Well, and
these kind of stories allow them to kind of see what their actions might lead to. Yeah.
well, and you're interested in philosophy, so let me ask you a
Mhm.
philosophical question. Can you find the edge without going over it? Right?
Yeah. I think that would be a very impressive circus act, to say the
Indeed,
least.
yes, indeed. So, talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think the common reference for most people, at least most Americans, would be the film, not the Johnny Depp film, the earlier film. But it sounds like you found the book first, right?
Yeah, I found a book first, but I think not long after I also watched the film,
Yeah,
the
and it's
60s,
Willie,
the 71 film with Gene Wilder as Willy
which
Wonka.
is Yeah, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder. One of the trippiest children's films. Like there was,
Yeah, I
mm,
watched it again yesterday, and I remembered it pretty clearly, but still, still I was amazed.
yeah. What most stood out to you about that? Because I have vivid memories of it, and there are sequences that are almost like MK Ultra hypnotic, crazy. You feel like, are we hypnotizing a whole generation of children here?
Mm.
What are we doing?
I found the set design most impressive.
It
This
it's
that very psychedelic m mushrooms everywhere, very bright colors, labs where weird experiments are going on without them really being explained. Um, at the end, Willy Wonka is in his office and everything is in half, and also that is just
yeah, right.
accepted as normal. Uh,
Yeah,
it just works on a whole different logic.
it's a character of its own in that film, much like the set of like the Hitchcock film Rear
Mhm.
Window. Like the set is a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There aren't that many films that are like that. It's a
And,
great point. Yeah.
and I think what makes that film so effective is that that you can still see that it is a set. Um, that is, it is just the right amount of fake to a certain degree. Whereas if you have the later version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one with Johnny Depp, then most of it is CGI, and then it's just a different world. So there's more of a suspension of disbelief.
Hmm.
But if it looks more like yeah, just the day to day, then it gets just in that uncanny valley, I think, and that makes it a lot weirder. And
Right. Yeah. There's this like giant lollipop. Yeah, and it just, yeah, everything is just a little uncanny and a little
mhm.
off and a little weird and a little larger than life. And of course, Gene Wilder's performance, he's just swinging cats the entire time and he just
So,
iconic and just crushes it.
this
So,
deadpan delivery is wonderful.
so as a child, did you read it in Dutch? I assume,
Yeah, I
yeah,
read
yeah.
translations. Yeah, only
Yep.
later on I read it in the original. And films I watched in the original with subtitling. So
Right. Yeah. I just realized that the book, he only wrote the book in 1964 and the film was made in 71. So that's
yeah,
the kind of
it was a big hit. I believe.
yeah, I mean it's yeah, clearly. Is that's the kind of author we're talking about. But this is also the guy who, per the core episode, was shooting Germans out of the sky in World War II. I mean, it's just what a the life. How do we go from fighter pilot to the chocolate factory? And I get it. Abby did a bang up job. After you listen to this, if you've not listened to the core episode, go back and listen to it. It's one of the and we've done 80 plus core episodes now, one of the wildest lives. Like I'm still kind of gobsmacked, no pun intended, by it. Where did you go from the Chocolate Factory? So what did you read next? Were what else what did that lead you to?
But I think then I read Matilda, um, which is a nice story. Um, I don't really go back to that one that much, but it is very cheeky.
Mm,
Um, I like to revisit it once
yeah,
again. And
I
it's
want
also, I
to.
think, one of his longest children's book. He could really he had this talent for writing proper children's novels because
Mm,
mostly children's books they're just yeah they're not much more than a novella at best. But
yeah,
but I
yeah.
think he also is the and he he thought, even even a child has the patience to sit with
Right.
you if the story is
Well,
good. Yeah.
well, and also
Yeah.
like these are probably novels that adults are sitting and reading them to the children. I mean,
Hmm.
I was blessed to have reading parent, a reading parent,
Yeah, me too.
and just that excitement of a chapter book. We're going to read a chapter of The Hobbit. In
Hmm.
By the way, The Hobbit in book club next year. That probably tells you one of the subjects we're going to cover next year on Art of Darkness. Um, so get ready; it's going to be really fun. But yeah, and I have young children, and I'm so excited to get to the point where we're reading the chapter books. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, just a chapter a day, so they have something to look forward to, and it also really it shapes a bond between a parent and a child, I think.
And there's also a structural genius or sort of that's the wrong word, but like a you children can learn something about how to structure narrative through the chapter structure. A chapter, it's like a scene in a play. It should have a beginning, it should have a middle, it should have an end. And if it's not the final chapter, it should sort of lead on to the next chapter. So there's this like kind of embedded cultural wisdom that
Mm,
is
yeah, that
that
it
that
also
we're
forms their thinking in a sense.
mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, and as someone wrestling with bedtime right now, it also gives the adults like that's the end of the chapter. Go to bed, shut up and go to bed.
Hmm.
Right? It gives you
Yeah.
it gives you a point to end,
Uh,
right? Like we're not reading children Ulysses, although I know you or we're not reading them Finnegan's Wake, right?
well, that's some good reading to fall asleep to. I can assure you.
Yeah. Can I read? So from book club, we read Someone Like You, and I just wanted to just give five, maybe 10. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just wanted to give people who maybe aren't all dolled up, which is the name of this dark room, by the way, um, just a sense of like the command of prose that he has. Um, so I'm going to read from A Dip in the Pool, and this is one of the short stories from Someone Like You, which is a really surprising collection for me. I did not expect the author of Charlie in the Chocolate Factory or whatever to have this command of prose. I suppose I should have.
Yeah, yes and no. These are stories for adults. Like
Right.
the things that happen are way more extreme. But it has the same feel, the same ambience.
So let
Yeah.
me
So.
let me just read a few paras here. On the morning of the third day, the sea calmed even the most delicate passengers, those who had not been seen around the ship since sailing time, emerged from their cabins and crept onto the sun deck, where the deck steward gave them chairs and tucked rugs around their legs and left them lying in rows, their faces upturned to the pale, almost heatless January sun. It had been moderately rough the first 2 days, and this sudden calm and the sense of comfort that it brought created a more genial atmosphere over the whole ship. By the time evening came, the passengers, with 12 hours of good weather behind them, were beginning to feel confident, and at 8 o'clock that night, the main dining room was filled with people eating and drinking with the assured, complacent air of seasoned sailors. The meal was not half over when the passengers became aware by the slight friction between their bodies and the seats of their chairs that the big ship had actually started rolling again. It was very gentle at first, just a slow, lazy leaning to one side, then to the other, but it was enough to cause a subtle, immediate change of mood over the whole room. A few of the passengers glanced up from their food, hesitating, waiting, almost listening for the next roll, smiling nervously, little secret glimmers of apprehension in their eyes. Some were completely unruffled, some were openly smug, a number of the smug ones making jokes about food and weather in order to torture the few who were beginning to suffer. The movement of the ship then became rapidly more and more violent, and only 5 or 6 minutes after the first roll had been noticed, She was swinging heavily from side to side, the passengers bracing themselves in their chairs, leaning against the pull as in a car cornering. This is a master uh, writing. You feel the ship,
Hmm.
and that's the genius of. Not every writer needs to do that, but if you're writing prose fiction, at that sentence level, it really helps to try to evoke what it is you're describing, and it's a rare talent at that level. Um, Also, in terms of like setting up a scene dramatically, you're invested. You want to know what's going to happen to the ship. I certainly do.
Yeah, definitely. It really draws you in, both both the sound as well as that those little peculiarities of it, kind of the
Hmm.
contrast that's there as well of like the wild nature about and inside a ship. People are just pretending like they're on a lawn in Britain or something.
Yes, yes, of course. And it's a perfect sort of metaphor for a certain sort of thing. I also like how he sets up a little class dynamic immediately. Of course, he's
Mhm.
a British author. He's got to set up this little social dynamic where there's this certain group who probably they've been at sea before, or they were even sailors in the war. And they've been on troop ships, and they're smirking. They know what's going to come, and they get to kind of enjoy. There's Schadenfreude,
Yeah,
right in
definitely.
that third
Yeah.
paragraph, right? And that seems to be a theme of his work. Is like the Schadenfreude, the sort of glee you
Yeah,
get it. Yeah,
he is a bit of a sadist, isn't he? Not too not not
do
on a
you?
on a psychotic level, but
Well,
he kind of relishes the macabre, or he believes in poetic justice as well. A whole
mm,
lot of these stories are, someone goes out of line, and then they get punished for it in a very creative way. And that holds true for both the children's books as well as the adult short stories. Yeah.
do you know what the least surprising fact about Roald Dahl was for me from the core episode? Was that he attended an English boarding school.
Yeah. Who didn't from that generation that was somewhat
Sure.
well off? Yeah,
Mm, mhm. But I
yeah.
mean, the
That
boarding
is
school
just
thing. Yeah.
that's such a weird custom,
Hmm.
and it's very particular to the United Kingdom
Mm.
as well. But it really forms their psyche. Um,
What else do you see, Jan Willem, between the children's stories? Is there like a bridge novel or work that you feel like is almost like YA that kind of bridges, like not quite for children, not quite for adults?
hmm.
Is there one in the body of work?
Um, the only thing I can think of is this short story Big, which is from Kiss Kiss, which is the other collection.
Okay.
So we read Someone Like You, and then he also has another big short story collection, which is Kiss Kiss, and in that is my favorite story of his, um, and that is
It's called,
about
go
pig.
ahead. Oh,
Yeah,
Pig.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
What's
it's about a young boy who is orphaned, um, when he's just been born, and then he gets raised by his aunt, and his aunt is a really strict vegetarian,
mm,
and he lives very secluded, and he becomes a he becomes a master chef in vegetarian cooking. And he's
mm,
always been told that that meat is evil and disgusting.
mm. Okay.
But that one day his aunt dies, and he he can't live in his house anymore. He goes off to the city because he's also kind of curious.
Hmm.
Um, then he gets swindled out of all his money by a by a Jewish lawyer. Uh, so
And we'll get into
that's
some of that
that,
business. Yeah.
that's yeah.
Listen. If you're
That's a
in
bit
if you're
cliche.
in New
I gotta
York,
give it
yeah.
to
I
you.
mean,
Yeah.
listen. If you're in Manhattan, I mean, let's be realistic. Um, I have, yeah.
But then he in just a regular old diner he tastes meat for the first time, and
Oh.
he can't believe what he's tasting, and then he I won't spoil it for you, but he goes to the slaughterhouse to see how it's manufactured, um,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
it doesn't end well for him. That's for sure. But
And
th th
yeah.
this this story really is, I think, about growing up and so that intermediate stage from a child passing into adulthood,
Right.
and then the job of the parents of the grown-ups is to prepare them well for it. And you can't do that in just a wholly idealistic manner. It's funny that the name of the aunt who raises him and really shelters him, um, that she's called Pangloss, which is the same as the professor in Voltaire's Candide, which is
Ah,
about optimism and the dangers of optimism, of believing in the best of all possible worlds. And then, well, the only result is if you believe in the best of all possible worlds, that you'll be very disappointed by reality.
yeah. Being mugged by reality.
Mhm.
I have the story. Do you want me to read the first should I read the first para?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
The thing about this story is that the first paragraph, it first it just gets you onto the sidetrack, and then only after a couple of pages you end up in the actual story. So,
Okay, all right. Well, I'm still going to start from the beginning just because I prefer to do that.
mhm.
But I like giving people some context for what we're talking about. And I love how does it start? Once upon a time, in the city of New York, a beautiful baby boy was born, and his joyful parents named him Lexington. The mother had just returned from hospital carrying Lexington in her arms when she said to her husband, "Darling, now you must take me out to a most wonderful restaurant for dinner." Her husband kissed her and told her that any woman who could have such a beautiful baby as Lexington deserved to go anywhere she wanted. So that evening, they both dressed themselves in their best clothes and, leaving little Lexington in the care of a trained nurse who was costing them $20 a day, they went out to the finest and most expensive restaurant in town. After a wonderful evening, they arrived back at their house at around 2 o'clock in the morning. The husband paid the taxi driver and then began feeling in his pockets for the keys to the front door. After a while, he announced that he must have left it in the pocket of his other suit, and he suggested they ring the bell and get the nurse to come down and let them in. A nurse who was costing them $20 a day must expect to have to get out of bed occasionally in the night, the husband said. So he rang the bell. They waited. Nothing happened. He rang it again, loud and loud. They waited another minute. Then they both stepped back onto the street and shouted the nurse's name up to the nursery window on the third floor, but there was still no answer. The house was dark and silent. The wife began to become frightened. If the nurse couldn't hear the front doorbell, then how did she expect to hear the baby crying? "You mustn't worry. I'll let you in." He was feeling rather brave after all. He had drunk. He bent down and took off a shoe. Then, holding the shoe by the toe, he threw it hard and straight through the dining room window on the ground floor. "There you are," he said, laughing. He stepped forward and very carefully put a hand through the hole in the glass and undid the lock. Then he raised the window. There's so much that he's setting up in a single paragraph. It's really
Hmm.
wonderful,
Yeah.
right? He's telling you we're in a fairy tale, you know,
Yeah.
situation here.
Right off the bat. Yeah.
Right off the bat. And
But
that's
but
your
then but then
mhm.
the whole rest of it is quite realistic. Yeah.
Mm,
So you kind of forget that um, uh, while you're a couple of paragraphs in. Yeah.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very bold, commanding way to start a short story. Right? If you're going to say once upon a time, and that tails
Hmm.
directly into what I said about the Grimm brothers. I mean, he's aware that he's working in this, I suppose, tradition of sort of
Hmm.
grotesque, edge pushing, folkloric. I want to tell a folk tale that's set in Manhattan in the
Yeah,
modern day.
but he's doing it, yeah, indeed for the 20th, 21st century. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, were there any other, major books that really, really affected you when you were young from him?
Um, well, um,
Did you did you t Yeah.
as Roald Dahl really pushes things to the edge and is so macabre, then he sometimes children are not really ready for the stories. But
Uh-huh.
I think so. It's a bit of a school of hard knocks. But
Uh-huh.
I remember that I already read the Book of the Witches,
All right.
and then I saw the film.
Mm.
The I don't know. It's the 90s film of
I'm
the
not
witches.
familiar with it. Doll
Ah,
Doll the Witches. Okay. All right.
hmm.
Yeah. I don't think
But
we touched on this one too much in the on the core episode,
yeah.
although maybe we did because we talked for 6 hours. It's possible that I've sort
Mhm.
of like,
Yeah,
fumed out on
I
it.
think
Yeah.
you mentioned it, but
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
well, to give a quick summary, The Witches is about like an evil conspiracy of witches who try to rid the world of children, and
Ah.
so they have this convention in a hotel um, somewhere in Britain, I believe, on the British coast, and there they're brewing a potion to turn all the children into mice. And then the hero is there with his grandmother, and they discover this vast conspiracy, and
Mm.
they make sure
Yeah.
that it doesn't turn into a catastrophe. But there's this one scene when at first these witches they go around incognito. So while they're actually bald, they all wear wigs and they wear some masks to kind of a lot of makeup to obscure their wrinkles, and they have these hideous claws, but they always wear nice silk gloves, so nobody knows that these women are actually uh, witches in disguise. But now this the child hero, he's eavesdropping on this witches conference, and then the leader, the um the
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 High Witch. Yeah.
grand
Yeah.
high
The
yeah,
Grand High
the
Witch.
grand
Yeah.
high witch, yeah, and she comes on, and especially in that film, I think I forgot who the actress is, but
I'll look it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
But now let's see. In that film, she she comes on. She's in this tight black dress, and has this kind of a bob haircut, all dolled up, more or less. So yeah, well, especially when I don't know
Huh.
when I watched this, I was about 10, but
Yeah, yeah.
these
It
feelings
it
start
sounds like maybe
some kind of coming to the surface. But
sure,
anyhow,
sure.
then this This witch, she just before she starts talking, she rips off her face, and
Oh.
then underneath, it's just this hideous head, which is bald and with the skin peeling off, and well, that's the witch in the true form. And the
Mm.
moment I saw that as a 10-year-old kid, um, I just realized all of the beauty of women will one day fade.
Oh no. Oh,
And
no.
you, and I know that for sure because I'm watching it with a childhood friend of mine who later turned out to be gay, and he was just
Uh,
totally unaffected. And then his mom, who was God bless her soul, but she had him later in her life, so she was I think 53 or something or so, short haircut. She said, and with a sigh, she said, "Yeah, it is quite hideous, isn't it?"
oh,
But yeah, so
damn.
that's I don't want to trauma post or anything,
That's
but
all right,
yeah,
dude.
I both love and hate Roald Dahl for the for coming
So
up with these things.
so
But
you had, yeah, yeah, that's such a Abby did the same thing on the core episode, and people have like have posted saying thank you for kind of being candid. So thank you for being candid. Yeah, dude,
uh,
like you have this like massive existential realization at 10 years old, thanks to a film based on this book. And it's Angelica Houston is the woman who plays.
yeah, I think
And
she's the daughter of the filmmaker of is it John Huston? Uh,
yeah, yeah,
uh, uh,
it's possible.
yeah, that's just a fun fact,
It's
but it's
likely in Hollywood.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, apparently this is like a Jim Henson movie. I've never seen this one. I
Oh,
should watch it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
Jim Henson made that of all people.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
who else? But
Yeah,
well,
yeah. There's a quote from the Grand High Witch on the Wikipedia. I'm going to read it. It's, children are revolting. We will wipe them all away. We will
yeah,
scrub them off the face of the earth. We will flush them down the drain.
yeah, she's German. Well, of course,
Again, we're in,
it's a bit
yeah.
below the belt of Roald Dahl, but
Given his background, I don't blame him. I
this
mean,
evil genocidal organization, of course. Yeah.
he's still fighting the war. Uh,
But
uh,
yeah, but another thing of now I have this particular thing about the witches, but something I just recently noticed. Um, Now you have these Sora AI videos, and before a couple of months before that, there were other programs which you just could generate videos. And I've been here and there, I've been seeing AI videos of the kind of Violet Beauregard edits, which is the kid from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the little girl who eats some chewing gum, and
mm,
then she swells up and turns purple.
hmm hmm
And I've been seeing just way too many of these videos to be just random of people who make videos of people just bloating
mm.
into a blueberry. So that I can't imagine what's motivating these people to
Must be something in the air. It must
make some
be,
kind of make
sure.
this stuff, but there is some kind of
It's in the zeitgeist.
yeah fascination or a psychological thing going
It
on
might
there
be,
as
listen, it
well.
might be,
Yeah,
Ozempic is causing people to lose their minds.
yeah,
Um,
that is true. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't really think about it. A lot of
And we're
people
gonna,
are obsessed by weight and
yeah, well,
this
I mean,
body
yeah.
dysmorphia, and
Uh,
maybe they're kind of fascinated by this kind of imagery because of it. But still, yeah,
especially, yeah, Americans.
Roald Dahl had his just kind of sensed it.
Mm.
way back, yeah. Or he generated it, maybe a bit of both. I don't know.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I think he's working in the tradition of like folk tales.
Hmm.
I think he's very consciously saying, I imagine he probably, I wonder what he thought about Disney and the Disneyfication of the folk tales.
Yeah, when you kind of read about the circles he was the in America and this high society, he must have known somebody connected to Disney.
No, no,
Yeah.
I believe he was at Disney briefly. Like I
Oh
think he
yeah,
met.
for his film. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I can see how that didn't work out. I mean, here Roald
Hmm.
Dahl and Walt Disney met in
Yeah.
1942, right when Disney was the propaganda company for the Americans
Yeah,
during the war.
he had that Gremlin story, right? That he wanted to sell.
Yep. Yep. Correct. Yeah. So it's saying Dahl traveled to the U.S. and we talked about this on the core episode. Again, I could see how that collaboration was not fruitful. Like that probably they just aesthetic differences, right? Disney was never going to
Hmm.
cross the line. We could maybe call it the Dahl line, right? Like there's Disney would go up to here, and then there's the Dahl line. Disney will kill a
Mm.
parent, right? Like Disney will kill Mufasa, it's
Yeah.
somehow still anodyne relative to the grotesqueries that Dahl will sort of, like
Yeah.
yeah, Disney will kill Mufasa, but Disney's not going to blow up
Kind of.
Mufasa.
Yeah, and also fundamentally, Disney believes in the innocence of children.
Mm.
And I'm not sure about Roald Dahl.
Well, and we would know why, wouldn't we? We
Hmm.
would know why because of the childhood, the abuses in the British public schools. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, they're public, whatever the boarding schools.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I know what you
yeah,
mean.
sure, sure,
I
sure.
also always get them mixed up as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wouldn't we all just love to like send our young children away? Good God, what an odd thing. Yeah, and in any event, yeah.
But,
Why don't we leave?
well, yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nowadays, Roald Dahl's work is it's kind of open season. Yesterday, I discovered that there's a animation film of the Twits, which is also one of my favorites. And
Hmm.
the Twits is about yeah, a superbly antisocial older couple who
Mm.
are constantly abusing each other, as well as the as well as the birds and the monkeys that they keep in the garden.
The
Uh,
Twits. It's a
the
it's a novel. This guy
the
was so
Twitch,
prolific. Yeah, the
yeah,
Twits.
to say the least. He was
Mm.
very prolific. So many children books, so many short stories for adults. He was in his hut all the time, I think.
Well, and I was
But
going to say, let's talk about working process, and then we can like wind down and then go
mhm.
to the after dark, where I really want to dig into the redacting of the work, the changing of the work post hoc.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
But
we can talk about the twits a bit later on because the also here the story it just uh, it is very edgy. But then now they've made an
like
animation film of it, which is which just takes all these edges off and makes them cutesy and marketable and
all right, right, the
Disney
sanitizing.
they Disneyfy him.
Right. We have to make sure that the nobody could be offended. Not one person.
Mhm.
I was saying on Twitter recently because everybody talks about banned books and then it's like To Kill a Mockingbird and you're like, what are that's like one of the most widely read books. What are you talking about? I was like, yeah, we need to ban The Great Gatsby because it's offending the wasps in New England, right? I mean, it's just like absurd. But I want to ask you Jan Willem about like working process. So Dahl would work like religious monk-like hours in this hut, apparently with like yellow paper and a pen. What do you have your own work, right? You're working on
Mhm.
language and learning Chinese and all the rest, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what do you have any thoughts or insights into like do you try your hand at creative writing or creative non, anything like that?
Yeah, no, well, now I can cycle back to how I discovered Art of Darkness, really.
Hmm.
Um, because
I'm so sorry.
I'm a big reader, um, but mostly fiction.
Uh,
But I'm not a fiction writer myself, and I never got the hang of it. It always felt a bit like a chore.
hmm.
Um, I've I've written a bunch of articles, interviews, essays, that kind of stuff, but never any stories. But my big passion is painting,
Yeah.
mostly abstract painting. Yeah,
All right.
patterns, and that is something uh, I can do for days on end and never get tired of it. Um, so I think if you really discover something that gets you in that flow state, so to say, that where you have the drive to create, then yeah, you have to hold on to it and to nourish it. And what I mostly do, because I could make these abstract patterns, these kind of paintings digitally, and it would take me 10 times less time.
Uh,
But I just sit on them and try to get them exactly right so they look like they're computer made. And then
uh,
it gets me into that headspace, into that meditative state.
do
So I can see
you
why Dahl also would use a pen and paper instead of a typewriter or a computer. And when I'm
that's
painting, I'm listening to podcasts. One day I think about 4 years ago, in the middle of the lockdown, I was looking for Joseph Conrad audiobook,
mm,
and then I misspelled it, and
ah
I found Art of Darkness.
I love it. It works. Always be branding. Well, Jan Willem, we're not going to top that. Let's take 5 minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the controversial sort of redacting and changing of the work. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on that. I also just want to tell people we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'm just going to say in November, we're going to surprise you with the return of the king. And I think people who are longtime listeners of this show will understand what we mean there. There's going to be a dark
So,
room.
an
Um,
Elvis Presley episode.
yeah, no. And then next season, we already have the list prepared. I've been teasing, bits and bobs. We've got 12, maybe even 13, hopefully banger core episodes. We're going to do something different next year where in the summer, we're going to have guest hosts come on to do a series of 3 core episodes, with us. We got a new co-host coming on. Abby's gonna go off and work on her filmmaking, but she's gonna be back next year. She's gonna be one of the 3 guest co-hosts. Um, but we're gonna keep going, and hopefully everybody's enjoying the recent core episodes. I know I enjoyed, Abby's work on Roald Dahl. I'm preparing Eugene O'Neill right now. Jan Willem, are you familiar with Eugene O'Neill at all? The great
Um,
American playwright?
no, I'm not. So I'm very curious to learn something about him.
Yeah, I mean he's a
I'm gonna watch that film version of the play.
watch the right, yeah, because for book club, and actually I should tease the date for book club here. Let me just whip it out, as it were. The This one is actually easy because you don't need to read it. There is a fine film version of The Iceman Cometh, and we're going to be doing that on November 15th. All the details are at artofdarkpod.com as ever. I would say, again, that film version is really, really worthy. And Eugene O'Neill, to tease that episode, he just sits as an absolute linchpin of the American theater. There's before O'Neill, there's after O'Neill. There's before Tiger Woods and after Tiger Woods. Eugene O'Neill is the Tiger Woods of the American theater. I'm joking a little bit, but just a major American playwright, and the only American playwright to win the Nobel Prize to date. And he won the Pulitzer 3 times. I mean, these things, how much do they matter? How much don't they matter? But his story is just absolutely incredible. So hopefully people are excited for that. I know I am. Jan Willem, is there anything you want to promote? Or you just want to, yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say to everybody, keep reading. Yeah, go read. You learn so much from it. It really enriches your life.
So true.
And yeah, if you want to see my paintings and maybe buy one,
All
go
right.
to Instagram, Hypnosem. That's Hypnozem. Yeah.
Okay, say it one more time. It's Hypnozim.
Zem.
Zem. Okay, well, I'm going
Yeah.
to say this one more time. So it's Instagram.com, Hypnozem. I'm looking at these. Whoa.
Yeah.
These are,
That's a bit
Jan
more
Willem,
by
these are,
hand.
whoa. These are wild. This is a whole side of you I wasn't aware of. I'm tripping right now. Whoa.
Yeah,
Everybody go.
try
Yeah.
staring at them
Whoa.
for a while.
Wow. This is wild. This is a whole side of you that I wasn't aware of. How do people, if somebody wanted to buy one of these, how would they do this?
Uh, DM me.
Okay.
I've never shipped something overseas, so we'll find out.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Well, we
We'll
have a
find
lot of
something out.
we have listeners all over the
Yeah,
world.
but
Again, it's
well, any attention is also a nice motivation for me to keep
no,
working on.
listen, Instagram.com, Hypnozem. And I'm telling you guys and gal, guys and Abby. I'm just kidding. These are wild, and the attention, they're like geometric. Just talk about these for 90 seconds before we take a break and then come back on the After Dark. Talk a little more
Yeah,
about this.
yeah. So most of them are like optic illusions. I
Hmm.
I came up with the idea while reading about Picasso, and Picasso has his all cubism style, right? Where he tries to kind of depict an image in its entirety. So you see all the edges at once, and that's why it looks all jumbled up. I'm a bit more skeptical at that. I think how about you make a painting which you can't see all at once, which is an optical illusion in that sense. So you see one side of it or you see another side of it, but you never see the the whole picture at that
Well, I'm just gonna say,
in that sense. And I'm mostly influenced by Escher and Mondrian, which are my also my compatriots as well. So
I'm gonna tell y'all one more time. I'm gonna put this in the show notes, but it's Instagram.com/HIPNOZEM. Go check these out. These are wild. And Jan Willem, this has been a real pleasure. We're gonna take 5 minutes. We're gonna come back, and on the After Dark, we're gonna talk about the controversy around Roald Dahl, the redacting of his work, the to fit contemporary sensibilities. This has been a real pleasure, and I'm so happy
yeah,
that you misspelled.
likewise. Yeah.
I'm so happy that you misspelled Heart of Darkness, and now we can be friends in the computer.
Yeah, well, it's a twist of fate.